So first, a note to all you male chauvinist pigs out there, and why? Why should you care about Laura Mulvey's very influential essay, Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema? And by extension, why should you care about feminist criticism as it relates to cinema? Well, I'll tell you a short story about an experience that I had as an undergraduate myself. I tried to enroll in a feminist art history course. The instructor, it was a small class, and as a consequence, the instructor asked us all to fill out, a short, write a short blurb of why we should get into the class. There were two men in the class, myself and another individual, and this other guy, what he wrote on his little blurb was that I want to take this class so that I can learn how to objectify women better. And actually, that's it. If you are in fact a male chauvinist pig and you want to learn how to objectify women, feminist discourse is where to go. Feminism is going to tell you exactly how to do it. A large body of feminist criticism is about the objectification of women and how that works. And so, if you want to learn how to do this, then you better read Laura Mulvey's Visual Pleasure and Narrative Cinema, and by extension, acquire an interest in feminist discourse. Now, one of the things that might strike you as odd as you read Laura Mulvey's essay is that she talks about that she wants to use the tools of psychoanalysis in order to discuss the social formations which have molded the male subject. So she's speaking specifically about male spectatorship, the male gaze, things of this sort. But it's important to note that Laura Mulvey will later come back and adjust her language a bit and reevaluate her position, and instead of making this a specifically gendered viewing position, she associates the male gaze not so much with the male sex, but instead with an active gaze, which is set against the exhibitionist, which is the kind of more passive position. So the act of watching or the act of looking is associated with the active position, and as a consequence, kind of the male viewing position. Again, so this is not, so we need to read this, when Laura Mulvey's talking about the male gaze and things like this, it's important to keep in mind that, it's probably best to read this more as a metaphor of the active position. Moreover, it might strike you as a bit odd that a feminist might be interested in psychoanalysis at all. Psychoanalysis of within the general public is kind of scorned as being kind of phallocentric and things like this. And so why would a feminist scholar be interested in psychoanalysis? For a couple different reasons. One, I think we can argue that we live in a patriarchal culture, and so why not use a tool of patriarchy to kind of decode what materializes in narrative cinema. And again, to reiterate a kind of a point that I made earlier, but it's important to also with these when adopting the the tools of psychoanalysis, to think along the lines of gender as being more of a metaphor. You know, who in patriarchal culture is a representative of power? Men. And as a consequence, the masculine position becomes the active position. And so this is not to say that we're speaking, you know, that women can't inhabit the active position. That's not it. That's not it at all. But rather that within this patriarchal culture, the masculine and the feminine position connotate certain things. So the masculine position represents kind of agency, power, whereas the feminine position within patriarchal culture tends to represent a kind of more passive, exhibitionist kind of position. So when you're reading this material, it's important to keep in mind the kind of the metaphors of gender, as opposed to be thinking about these strictly in kind of strict biological terms.